Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Lebanon City Council for October 12th, 2021. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Will the Lebanon Fire Department please lead us?
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next will be the roll call members. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Sure. Mike Kincaid.
Present.
Keith Campbell.
Here.
Morris Jones.
Here.
Dick Robertson.
Here.
John Copeland is absent this evening. Brent Wheat.
Present.
Sierra Messenger.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, next would be the approval of minutes, but I know we don't have those minutes, so we'll take those up at our next meeting. So the first item of business tonight is we do have some new Lebanon Fire Department new recruits. So Chief Batts to the microphone.
Good evening, Mayor, Madam Clerk, and council members. It's my pleasure to introduce our three newest members to the City of Lebanon Fire Department: Calvin Carter, Josiah Heath, and Kyle Plummer. These three young men were our top three scoring applicants in an applicant pool of over 150 people. We're very proud of them. They're doing an excellent job. Calvin and Josiah are currently in the Avon Fire Academy. Kyle, we are treating him as a lateral transfer. He was a career fireman just north of Nashville, Tennessee. So we were able to bring him on and use his previous academy and then go through a 40-hour basic, and he's on the truck. All three are doing an excellent job, and the two in the academy, they will be graduating in late January. So I'd like to invite the mayor up. And our first recruit, Calvin Carter.
So raise your right hand, left hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Calvin Carter,
Solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
and all laws and ordinances
and all laws and ordinances
of the City of Lebanon.
of the City of Lebanon,
And I will faithfully discharge my duties
and I will faithfully discharge my duties
as a member of the Lebanon Fire Department
as a member of the Lebanon Fire Department
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to need you to sing the national anthem for us. Say a few words.
I'm very excited for this opportunity. It's always been a long-time dream of mine. I know I have a long road ahead of me, but I'm excited to get started. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to introduce our next recruit, Josiah Heath.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Josiah Heath,
Solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
and all laws and ordinances
and all laws and ordinances
of the City of Lebanon.
of the City of Lebanon.
And I will faithfully discharge my duties
And I will faithfully discharge my duties
as a member of the Lebanon Fire Department
as a member of the Lebanon Fire Department
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
I also want to thank you all for this opportunity. It's been a dream of mine as well, and I look forward to serving the community of Lebanon, not just in the months to come, but hopefully for years in the future. Thank you.
It's my privilege to introduce Kyle Plummer.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kyle Plummer,
Solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
and all laws and ordinances
and all laws and ordinances
of the City of Lebanon.
of the City of Lebanon,
And I will faithfully discharge my duties
and I will faithfully discharge my duties
as a member of the Lebanon Fire
as
Department
a member of the Lebanon Fire Department
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I came up, wanted to look for family like I had down there, and I think I found it. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
We're going to go ahead and excuse our group, and we're going to need to go downstairs. And so the mayor doesn't shush us, we're going to have to be quiet when we go downstairs. Because we're going to continue the council meeting and after we do.
Or you can stay for the budget hearing. It's going to be really exciting. We've got some couple of annexation ordinances, a lot of good stuff tonight.
And that's enough. I don't get it.
We're going to recess for 2 minutes.
Great to see you.
Welcome back. Sorry, it can be a little noisy when everybody leaves sometimes. So with that, we'll move on. Before we go on, I kind of want to take, do I have consent from council? I know we have a big agenda tonight, but I do want to kind of move some things around. So do I have consent from council to take the agenda out of order?
Yes.
Consent? Okay. So then with that, the first item up will be Ordinance 2021-24, which is an ordinance amending 2019-01, authorizing the issuance of waterworks revenues bonds in more one series. And we have Julie Bowling from Creek Duval here to explain this to us.
Good evening, and thank you. Yeah, we're here tonight just to do an amendment to an ordinance that the council approved back in 2019, which was 2019-01, which did authorize the issuance of waterworks revenue bonds in multiple series. We're not changing anything regarding the scope of those projects. They're still in an amount not to exceed $14.7 million. The interest rate allowed on those does not change. The term does not change. We're simply looking to provide some additional flexibility. You will be working with the Utility Service Board when these are issued, and right now we're looking at issuing a second series of these bonds through the SRF program through the state of Indiana. In 2019, $3,360,000 worth of bonds were issued under this ordinance, and now we're looking at issuing approximately $6,735,000 for Phase 2 of the projects that the Utility Service Board is financing for these. The bonds do get issued by the city, though, and so you're working in conjunction with the Utility Services Board. The Utility Services Board typically enters into the construction contracts and does the documentation necessary to do the construction and operation of those projects. And so what this ordinance amendment does is to provide some flexibility in what they can do in connection with the construction. The one we're looking at doing right now is going to be done through a BOT transaction, and so even though it's not necessarily required that this ordinance be amended to show that, we thought it made more sense to go ahead and kind of authorize different mechanisms that the Utility Service Board can do. The last one was done with a guaranteed savings contract. This one's a BOT, It does obviously still authorize additional phases to be done using, any of these approaches. So we just thought it would be good to come back to you guys tonight to kind of give you an update that they're moving forward with Phase 2. And then, again, providing some additional language under the ordinance to authorize structures such as the BOT, which would be undertaken by the Utility Services Board. There is talk that there might be additional phases of this project, which would still come under the same bond ordinance. And again, it's a maximum amount to be issued of $14,700,000. The current rate ordinance is sufficient to cover both the Phase 1 and Phase 2 that are issued, so no rate ordinance change is being requested. There was a step up contemplated in the existing rate ordinance. So I'm certainly happy to answer any questions you might have on the amendment or the underlying project, if you have any questions.
Any questions for Julie from the council?
No, sir.
Julie, any concerns or problem if we did both readings tonight? Would that be helpful?
I don't think that we can close prior to October 25th anyway, so if you prefer to just do it in the 2 phases, I don't think it will hinder, but if you want to get it out of the way and not have to do it on the 25th, we're certainly,
Okay.
that certainly works for us.
But there's nothing that prevents us from doing that, though?
Pardon?
There's nothing that would prevent us from doing that with
Correct.
these? Okay.
Nope.
Any further discussion, comments from council?
No, sir.
Rob, do you mind reading the ordinance on first reading, please?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Ordinance 2021-24, again, is concerning the authorizing the issuance of waterworks revenue bonds in one or more series. As Julie indicated, Section 1 is going to be amended to read that the city, through its utility service boards, again, will obtain engineers' estimates, advertise, and receive proposals for the guaranteed savings contract, and as well to procure the construction of the project through the build, operate, transfer statute as authorized in Indiana Code 5-23. As she also indicated, the amount won't change. It won't exceed $14,700,000. Section 1 of the ordinance in 19-01 is amended to read, and I won't read it verbatim, but it does contemplate again that the city, in conjunction with the Utility Service Board, shall proceed with the construction of the project in accordance with the cost estimates and the respective documents that are listed therein. The plans and specifications and the cost estimates will be on file with the clerk treasurer of the city, and it'll all be, again, in her office for inspection pursuant to Indiana law. All other provisions of the ordinance will remain in full force and effect.
Thank you, Rob. Now the ordinance is read on first reading. Any further discussion, comments from council?
No, sir.
Do I have council consent to suspend the rules and move ordinance 2021-24 to second reading? I just am doing this because we have, our budget's second reading next week, just to kind of, it's like pretty minor change for this, so. Do I have unanimous consent? Unanimous consent? Okay. Okay, with that, rules are currently suspended, and we will advance ordinance 2021-24 to second reading, as Rob just read it. Any further comment from council? Any public comment concerning ordinance 2021-24? Okay. With the rules being suspended, and we are on second reading of ordinance 2021-24, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve 2021-24.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ordinance 2021-24 is adopted on second reading unanimously. Thank you, council. And thank you, Julie. Okay, still going out of order here a little bit. I thought since we have Paige here in the audience, I thought it might be beneficial to do the budget portion, and then we have a related resolution as well with that. So first up would be ordinance 2021-20, fixing the salaries of certain City of Lebanon employees, and this is on first reading. Tanya?
Okay, as the mayor just said, this is an ordinance fixing the salaries of certain employees of the City of Lebanon beginning January 1st, 2022. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Lebanon, Indiana, 2/3 of its members being present and concurring therein. Following statement of salaries as base pay for the positions listed. Section 3 is that full-time employees of the City of Lebanon receive longevity pay at the rate of $75 per year for each year of service. Longevity pay begins after the first full year of service and does not include the current year of service when calculating the amount for each employee. If that current employee transfers to a vacated position, the amount of the salary would be no more than the amount listed in said ordinance plus the longevity of the employee transferring to said vacancy. The salaries of the following employees of the City of Lebanon are as follows, and I will read the departments and their totals. So the motor vehicle department is $481,837. The Parks Department is $777,377. The above rates apply to a 35 to 40-hour work week. However, when extreme emergencies arise requiring the above-named employees to work more than 40 hours per week as intended, they shall be compensated according to the Federal Labor Standards Act and the city's overtime policy. This section shall not apply to department heads. Planning Department is $428,256. Historic Commission, $6,000. Police Department, $2,495,497. Fire Department, $1,793,977. Clerk Treasurer's Office, $118,918. Mayor's Office, $48,606. Community Development, $69,902. Engineering, $79,271. Lit Public Safety Fire, $846,707. Lit Public Safety Police, $492,246. Section 6 is the annual salaries of the following board members shall be: Board of Works is $3,600. The City Plan Commission is $9,600. Board of Zoning Appeals is $6,000. Park Board is $3,600. The Plan Commission, Zoning, and Park Board members are only compensated for regularly scheduled meetings they attend. This ordinance shall take effect January 1st, 2022, and this is the first reading, so we will read this again at our next meeting.
Thank you, Tanya. Any discussion from council at this time?
No, sir.
Any public comment concerning ordinance 2021-20? Okay. Seeing none, we'll take that up at our next meeting. Next up would be ordinance 2021-21, fixing the salaries of elected officials for the City of Lebanon. This is on first reading.
Okay. Again, be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Lebanon, Indiana, 2/3 of its members being present, concurring therein. The maximum salaries of the following elected officials of the City of Lebanon beginning January 1st, 2022 are as follows. The Mayor, $57,978. Clerk Treasurer, $61,934. Common Council, the total is $71,000, and that's 6 members at $10,000 each, and the President is $11,000. In addition to the funds paid by the civil city as set out in Section 2, the following elected and appointed officers to be paid from the funds of the municipal utilities are as follows. Mayor, $30,090. Clerk Treasurer, $17,204. And First Deputy Clerk Treasurer, $25,668. Again, this ordinance shall take effect January 1st, 2022. This is the first reading.
Thank you, Tanya. Any discussion from council?
No, sir.
Any public comment concerning ordinance 2021-21? Okay. Ordinance has been read on first reading. We'll take that up at our next meeting. Next is ordinance 2021-22.
Right. Be it ordained and resolved by Lebanon City Council that for expenses of Lebanon City Civil City for the year ending December 31st, 2022, the sums herein specified are hereby appropriated and ordered set apart out of several funds herein named for the purposes herein specified, subject to the laws governing the same. The property tax and levies, property tax rates are herein specified and included herein. Budget Form 4B for all funds must be completed and submitted in the manner prescribed by the Department of Local Government and Finance. And I shall read these again by the fund name and number. So it starts out with Casino Riverboat is $62,700. The general fund is $14,406,779. Debt service, which is a bond, is $144,493. Bond number 2 is $208,311. Fire pension is $304,214. Police pension, $219,573. Local road and street, $283,751. Motor vehicle highway, $1,260,627. Park and recreation, $1,510,201. Park bond, $381,026. Cume cap improvement is $140,000. Cume cap development is $340,000. The stormwater bond is $600,550. Sanitation department is $909,000. Food and beverage is $1,889,000. Public safety lit, and this is both fire and police, is $2,920,137. And the American Rescue Plan is also part of this budget number, which is $1,813,517, for a grand total of $27,393,879.
Thank you, Tanya. Any comments, discussion from council?
No, sir.
Any public comment concerning Ordinance 2021-22, which is our city budget for 2022? Okay. Well, that again, first reading, we'll take that up at our next meeting. And then, but, just with that, I want to say I do appreciate the cooperation that all the council and time we put in to craft this budget. I think we did a very good job under challenging circumstances due to the impact from the pandemic, and I appreciate all the hard work and effort we all put in to make that happen. So next up is Resolution 2021-20.
Right, this one is not on your agenda, and this is a petition to appeal for an increase above the maximum levy, and we talked about this. Paige Sansone from Baker Tilly is here with us, and she's going to explain this a little bit. The board or the council knows, that we discussed this, and so Paige is going to explain it, and then we just need signatures for tonight's meeting. Resolution number.
Good evening. So the city is qualified to file a 3-year levy growth appeal. So what this does is it permanently increases your maximum levy. You're qualified to file this appeal, I should say that. It still needs to be approved by the state. The reason why you're qualified is because your average 3-year growth and net assessed value exceeded the statewide average by more than 2%. It's possible that you will be qualified again next year. We check this each budget season to see if you're qualified. In order for us to file the petition on your behalf, we do need an approved or signed resolution, and that's what you have before you right now. The deadline for us to file this petition is October the 19th, and I will tell you that this increase is not anticipated to increase your overall city tax rate because you've got enough growth and assessed value to offset that. So it really is a win-win situation. A lot of growing communities file these whenever they're qualified so you can keep up with the growth in your community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Paige?
No, sir.
Tanya, you need to read the ordinance? Or resolution, excuse me.
I guess, so is it just?
Or is it just a,
It's just that.
the form? Okay.
I mean, I can read this. So
Yeah.
petition to appeal for an increase above the maximum levy. The City Council of the Lebanon City, Civil City, Boone County, State of Indiana has determined to appeal the Department of Local Government Finance for an excess property tax levy. And then it says, please provide the appropriate excess levy appeal and provide a dollar amount requested. And so on this 3-year growth period that Paige just talked about, it's $63,522. The fiscal body of Lebanon Civil City, Boone County hereby resolves to proceed with a petition for an excess property tax levy to the Department of Local Government and Finance to increase the taxing unit's maximum levy, and we represent that the taxing unit cannot carry out its governmental functions under its current maximum levy for ensuing calendar year without the excess levy. Adopted this 12th day of October 2021.
Okay. Thank you, Tanya. Resolution has now been read. Any additional council comment?
No, sir.
Any public comment concerning Resolution 2021-20? Okay. At this time, then, I would entertain a motion concerning Resolution 2021-20.
Make a
And
motion.
that was 2021-20.
Yeah, sorry, lots of twos and
I would make a motion that we endorse Resolution 2021-20, the excess levy appeal.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that is adopted. All right, let's see here. So we'll now go back to our regular schedule here. First item up will be Resolution 2021-16. Council to consider the fiscal plan for the, terrible acronym on this, Ben, the GCBM SLH Farms annexation.
Try to get every letter in the alphabet in there. Good evening, council members. This is the fiscal plan associated with the annexation of a property that's essentially or generally the northeast corner of 300 North and State Road 39. And I will, for a quick reminder here, we'll use the overhead. This would be State Road 39 on the west that you see here, and 300 North is to the south. This is actually a three-step annexation. We've already annexed parcels here to the southeast of this area, so this is the third of three annexations we're doing. This is actually a process that was started by the broker on behalf of the property owners. There's no plans for this property, no current development opportunities necessarily. I believe this is specifically a marketing item for the broker. He feels like this will help in terms of marketing this property to potential opportunities if it was already within the city limits. Take that step out of the process. So this is merely a prospective opportunity here, not something that's actually a specific opportunity. But in terms of the fiscal plan, usually I always skip back to the appendix and just kind of walk through the summary that's contained there. And actually, in this case, it's a very straightforward one because it's essentially undeveloped property. It's essentially ag property, so there's not a lot of existing assessed value associated with it, so it's not generating a lot of net revenue for the city by annexing it. The current assessed value is $32,900, so it's really not changing the tax revenue for the city much at all. And because there's not development proposed, there isn't any future assessed value proposed for the property either. So again, the assessed value with it not increasing, because it remains agriculture property, again, there won't be any future increases. From that same perspective, though, in terms of fiscal impact, there's really no cost associated with annexing this property either. There's no existing residents, no proposed residents in the future, really no services need to be provided by the city to ag property. So in terms of the fiscal plan, there's limited revenue associated with the assessed value increase, and there's also limited costs associated with that. So that's the general summary of the fiscal plan associated with Resolution 2021-16 for this annexation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ben. Any questions for Ben from the council?
No, sir.
Okay. Rob, can you please read Resolution 2021-16?
Yep. Thank you, Mayor, Council. Resolution 2021-16, again, is the fiscal plan for the annexation of certain territory that's described in Exhibits A and B. And pursuant to Indiana Code, this council is required to adopt a written fiscal plan prior to the passage of the Annexation Ordinance 2021-18. As Ben indicated, the fiscal plan is attached to this resolution as Exhibit C, and there's several pages in there. This fiscal plan has been reviewed and complies with the Indiana Code, and this council is hereby approving the areas sought to be annexed.
Okay. Thank you, Rob. Resolution 2021-16 has been read. Any additional comments from council?
No, sir.
Any public comment? Okay. At this time, then, I would entertain a motion concerning Resolution 2021-16.
I make a motion, we approve Resolution 2021-16.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution 2021-16 passes unanimously. Thank you, council. In that vein, I thought it might be easier to do ordinance 2021-18, which is the council to consider annexation of GCBM SLH Farms property. So again, the associated property we just talked about with the fiscal plan. And so this ordinance is on second reading.
Just a quick overview again. This is the annexation of this property that we just discussed, so I'll just be happy to answer any questions if there are any. Again, there's no development proposed associated with this property. If at some point in the future there is a proposed development, it certainly will come back through zoning hearings and associated with the Plan Commission and Common Council, so there will obviously be additional notices if and or when a development is proposed. So if there's any neighbors that are interested in what happens to this property, they will get notified again if and or when a development is proposed, but this would merely be the annexation associated with it.
Thank you, Ben. Any questions for Ben?
No, sir.
Rob, can you please read ordinance 2021-18 on second reading, please?
Thank you, Mayor. 2021-18 concerns 100% of the owners of the parcels that are located in Exhibits A and B of the annexation area have filed a voluntary petition with this council. The Lebanon Advisory Plan Commission held its public hearing at its meeting on May 18, 2020, and forwarded its docket to the council with a favorable recommendation 6-0 to assign single-family residential zoning classification for the annexed area. This council conducted a public hearing on September 27, 2021, as required by law. The annexation area meets the contiguity requirements by Indiana code, and again, the annexation area generally located at the northeast corner, State Road 39 and 300 North, and adjacent to the existing corporate limits, along with the southern and western boundaries of the annexation area, is hereby declared annexed to and declared to be part of the city of Lebanon. It's further to include the contiguous public highways and right-of-ways, and it's assigned Council District 4 and shall become a part thereof immediately upon the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you, Rob. Any further discussion, comments now that the ordinance has been read on second reading?
No, sir.
Any public comment at this time? Okay. Then I would entertain a motion concerning ordinance 2021-18.
I move we approve ordinance 2021-18.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second from Dick. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That ordinance is adopted unanimously. Thank you, council. Next up is Resolution 2021-17, council to consider the fiscal plan for the Butler Ross LLC annexation. Ben?
All right, this is the second, associated with the second annexation that's on the agenda for this evening. It's on second reading, but this is the fiscal plan that we need to consider as part of this. And we'll start with a quick overview of the site. This is actually an annexation that will take effect in two stages as well. This is the first about 33-acre piece on the south, again, 300 north to the south, State Road 39 to the east. And then there's a second annexation that has already been filed. Once this annexation if this annexation takes effect, it will involve the remainder of this property that you see here to the north. There is a development proposed for the site, or will be proposed for the site by Beazer Homes, and they will be filing likely a PUD rezone once the annexation is effective. So we will have further information on the proposed development once that's filed. Again, a PUD rezone, and would go through the Plan Commission and Council, so there'll be additional notifications associated with that. So with that, then we'll go on to the fiscal plan. And again, I mentioned this one does have a development proposed, so the appendix with the summaries is a little bit more detailed. So a couple things here. We'll start out with estimated net assessed value of the annexation area. As you see here, the petitioner did provide us with some estimates on home construction and values of those homes, and I'm on page 12 in the appendix. You'll see here that once you get to 2024, page 2025, you'll see that the annexation area assessed value starts to increase about $10 million per year based on home construction. And you can see what that then does to the estimated property tax levy as it increases over time too, from 9.2 to 9.7 to 10.1 million in those same time periods. And additionally, associated that, then on page 13, then you see the incremental costs associated with providing services to that area. You see starting in 2023, for street and police, we see some additional incremental costs totaling about $800 in 2023, and then incrementally increasing there up to about $850 in 2025. And so a summary of the net impact then, you can see in the chart on the bottom of page 13, the costs, the estimated levy increase versus the costs. By year 2024, we're already seeing a net positive in terms of levy increase versus costs, about $4,000 the first year and then about $9,400 the second year. So you can see here, at least in the short term, that the annexation area will pay for itself in terms of a levy increase versus the costs associated with providing services to that area. So that's a quick summary of that fiscal impact of the development. Be happy again to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ben from council this time?
No, sir.
Okay. Rob, can you please read the resolution?
Thank you, Mayor Council. Resolution 2021-17, again, concerns a fiscal plan for the land that's described in Exhibits A and B pursuant to Indiana Code. This council is required to adopt a written fiscal plan prior to the passage of Annexation Ordinance 2021-19. As Ben indicated, the required fiscal plan is set forth in Exhibit C as prepared by Baker Tilly, and he's highlighted those portions of it. This plan has been reviewed and complies with the requirements of Indiana Code, and this council is adopting this fiscal plan and approved by the area sought to be annexed.
Thank you, Rob. Now the resolution has been read. Is there any public comment at this time concerning this resolution? Any additional council comment?
No, sir.
Okay. I would entertain a motion then concerning Resolution 2021-17.
I'll make a motion we approve Resolution 2021-17.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That resolution is adopted unanimously. Okay, next up then would be Ordinance 2021-19, Council to consider annexation of the Butler Ross LLC property.
Getting my steps in tonight. All right, so this is the ordinance associated with the annexation we just briefly discussed, associated with the fiscal plan. Again, I won't go through the full details here. We've already done a quick summary of that site. Again, as I mentioned before, this is going to be a two-step annexation. So this, if this is adopted tonight, then there will be a 30-day waiting period associated with the annexation before it becomes effective. And then the second step of that annexation then will take place after that. Once that annexation theoretically becomes effective, then they will be coming back in with the PUD application, which will then go through full Plan Commission Council review and approval at that time, with associated notices going out to neighboring property owners. So this is a 100% voluntary annexation, just like the last one, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
I have one. How many houses are slated to go on that property?
Don't know yet. We don't have any plans that have been filed yet. So it'll be, you know, it's the total acreage is a little over 100 acres. So you usually see between 2 and 3 homes per acre, but until we get the full plan developed, I don't know specifically what's being proposed.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to clarify too, I mean, we can't even start reviewing any proposals for it until it's actually within the city, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't have a 2-mile planning jurisdiction with the county. So the only way our planning department can review any proposed developments is it actually has to be within the city limits as well.
Thank you.
Any additional comments or questions for Ben? Okay. Rob, can you please read Ordinance 2021-19 on second reading, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Council. Ordinance 2021-19 concerns, again, 100% of the owners of the parcels proposed to be annexed are set forth in Exhibits A and B, the annexation area. The Lebanon Advisory Plan Commission held its public hearing on September 20th, 2021, and forwarded docket to this council with a favorable recommendation 8-0 to sign the single-family residential zoning classification to the annexation area. This council conducted a public hearing on September 27th of 2021 as required by law. The council has adopted a fiscal plan as set forth by Indiana Code. This annexation area meets the contiguity requirements as set forth by Indiana code. And now the council finds the statutory criteria for the annexation has been met. This annexation area that's generally located at the northwest corner, State Road 39 and 300 North, and adjacent to the existing corporate limits along the southern boundary of the annexation area is declared to be annexed and declared to be a part of the city of Lebanon, Indiana. It's further to include the contiguous public highways and rights-of-ways, and it's going to be assigned Council District 4 and shall become a part thereof immediately upon the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you, Rob. Now the ordinance has been read on second reading. Any further council discussion?
No, sir.
Any public comment concerning the ordinance? Okay, then, would entertain a motion then concerning ordinance 2021-19.
I make a motion we approve ordinance 2021-19.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Okay. Motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That ordinance passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Okay, that concludes the fiscal plans and annexations. We've done the budget now. So next would be item H on your agenda, which is Resolution 2021-18, additional appropriation of the Common Council of the City of Lebanon. And this is Kevin Krulik to introduce this.
Thank you. I appreciate your consideration on this matter. This is relatively straightforward. Indianapolis Avenue Phase 2 wrapped up late last year and, wrapped up construction. So what we are dealing with here is we got our final change order from NDOT, and although I should have known that this was coming and we were expecting this, we did not put anything into the 2021 budget for Indianapolis Avenue Phase 2. So again, this is not unexpected, just not accounted for in this year's budget. So what we're asking for is a special appropriation to fund, to be appropriated out of Fund 402. We have a line item in there for Indianapolis Avenue Phase 2 for the total amount of $19,475. And this does, as I said, represents our final change order to close out the project from NDOT.
Okay. Any questions for Kevin on this?
No, sir.
Okay. I will open the public hearing after we've read the resolution. So Rob, can you read that, please?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Resolution 2021-18 is for an additional appropriation, as Kevin indicated. Whereas it becomes necessary to appropriate additional funds within the approved budget as contemplated and authorized by Indiana code, it's been determined that it's now necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget. All additional appropriations require a public hearing. This resolution is to appropriate funds for Indianapolis Avenue change orders from NDOT. And the following sums of money are going to be appropriated out of Fund 402 in the amount of $19,475.
Thank you, Rob. At this time, I'll open the public hearing on Resolution 2021-18. If you have any public comment, please step forward and state your name for the record. Seeing no sudden movements, I will now close the public hearing on Resolution 2021-18. Any further discussion, comments from council?
No, sir.
Okay. At this time, then, I would entertain a motion concerning Resolution 2021-18.
Move to approve Resolution 2021-18.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. For discussion?
Nope.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That resolution is adopted unanimously. Thank you, council. Next up is Resolution 2021-19. This is also an additional appropriation for the Common Council from the Casino Riverboat Fund. And Joe?
Hey, everyone. Appreciate you listening about the arts in our community and the continued injection of arts within that community. Would like your feedback and eventually your go-ahead with the first of 5 CSX murals to be painted by local artists and the community as well. You may have known that we've partnered with Scott Trafford, who's a local artist, and grew up in Lebanon, is raising a family here, and is partnering with us on the facilitation of murals within our community. Would like your consideration to appropriate an amount not to exceed $14,000 to kind of kickstart our first mural on Lafayette Avenue, and to help visualize what those, there are 4 mini murals really. I brought some really high imagery, although you will be able to tell the colors are a little bit off with the blinding light here. Happy to pass those along to members of the council to be able to see those. Again, the injection of color will go on the improved and current white work that CSX has done to kind of coat what had been there in the past, which was covering up graffiti and wear and tear on the actual bridge, and being able to add the injection of color. Also partnering with Harney Elementary, which is just down the street from where this mural will be located, and being able to have community art days as well for the public to come out and paint and work on the mural. And so with the hit that the COVID took on my budget, usually that's somewhere in the neighborhood of $90,000, but with COVID it was in the neighborhood of 60. And so would like to be able to dip into the reserves of the food or the Casino Riverboat Fund, and be able to dip in a bit to be able to kind of get our mural operation rolling and be able to continue that momentum for years to come.
Okay. And we, just to clarify too, Joe, do you probably don't know the offhand current balance in there? I mean, it's above.
Checked with Mia, and it was $147,000 in there when I checked with her, and that was.
Okay, this has happened this year, and it happened last year because we got an additional $30,000. We had budgeted the $62,700, just like what I read tonight for last year, and then we got an additional $30,000, like in October, just like we did a week or two ago. So the money's there.
Okay.
Used to budget $63,550, and we went down to 62, but last year and this year, they've sent us the $30,000 to make up for the difference, so we're good.
Okay.
That's money I lost.
Yeah. Because they checked the couch cushions in the casinos, they found it. So, any questions for Joe about this?
I have a comment. Joe and I, we met on this a couple times, and the original cost was 60% higher than what it is now. And so I just kind of hinted that he needs to come back with a lower number, and he did. But I think it's important because people who are moving here and are just driving through, they notice these things. People who've lived here their entire life, like me, notice him for a little bit and then don't see him anymore. So people like me who've been here a long time need to be careful about saying things like, this stuff doesn't need to be, because it's for those, people who are driving through and visiting and thinking about moving here. They see those murals. So that's why I think they're important, as long as they stay within a certain reasonable number.
Yeah,
So, and he did that, yeah.
To help with and appreciate the guidance, Councilman, a couple points there. To help with the price tag, you may have seen some earlier versions of the mural where it was pretty busy. The colors were busy, is the best way to describe it. So we took some of the busyness out from Scott and redirected him towards something a little bit more conservative, which he was kind enough to do. But also, to your point about those new folks that are moving into town, absolutely want to champion your point, but also for folks that have lived around that area for their whole lives, and the remaining 4 CSX overpasses where there are current gang symbols or 4-letter magic words that have been covered up because they're kids that go to school and walk and drive, and the bus goes through that way, that type of thing. Being able to have that injection of color where a gang symbol used to be, or profanity, to be able to see, that vibrancy. We want that to be a real kind of a quality of life builder for those who've lived here forever, and just kind of seen a little rundown overpass, and then all of a sudden it becomes vibrancy. And what's going to happen next? What's going to go, the one at Hoy Avenue and Camp Street, which is what we hope to do next, and being able to have those continued wins are what we're really after and excited about too. So appreciate your help and guidance with all that.
Well,
I will say also as a benefit, we've kind of trial ballooned this with the Big Four mural underneath the interstate, which again was a common problem we'd have with graffiti and all kinds of things under there. And since that's been painted, we have had no issues with that. So it is kind of trying to bring some art and some color, but then it also does serve a positive benefit too of, once it's painted on there, I think people respect that the time and effort that went to go into that, and they don't, it's not a blank canvas for them to try to put their own art on it, right? And which sometimes isn't always what the public wants to see. So I do think it has been beneficial for us, and I think it's a good step, and I think we're on the right track, so to speak, pardon the pun. But I think it takes time, and finding the right level of support with that too as well is important. So. Any further, go ahead, Dick, sorry.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. I like the murals, I like, because I go through a lot of communities and I see a ton of them. I just kind of like to see us get to the point where we're doing a little more history of Lebanon and so forth. This one I think it's very pretty, but I don't know, I think it'd look nicer if it was around the lake or something than it would right there. And I'd like to see something that was a little more, showed the history of Lebanon than anything else in the future, whatever.
And they will.
Yeah.
The folks that chose this design and kind of the theme, the underwater theme, were local artists. So Scott, along with some of the folks that painted some of the tigers. And so the one that will be at State Road 32 will be the more so the traditional history of the Lebanon area in the community and past, present, future. But they'll have all different themes and kind of all flavors that folks will be able to see as they go through that.
Okay. All right, there will be a public hearing on this one as well. So at this time, though, Rob, will you read the resolution, please?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Resolution 2021-19 for an additional appropriation. At times, it becomes necessary to appropriate additional funds within the approved budget as contemplated by Indiana law. It has now been determined it's necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget. All additional appropriations require a public hearing. Resolved now that this resolution 2021-19 is to appropriate funds for the completion of a mural on the Lafayette Avenue Bridge out of Fund 103 in the amount of $14,000.
Thank you, Rob. At this time, then, I'll open the public hearing on Resolution 2021-19. If you have any public comment, please step forward and state your name for the record.
I'll make a motion we approve.
Hold on, Dick. I need to close the public hearing first, if we need to.
Make a motion to close the public
Okay. At this time, I'll now close the public hearing on Resolution 2021-19. Then now would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion we approve Resolution 2021-19.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Opposed. Do we need to do Keith, Dick? I didn't hear you guys. Oh, you made the motion. Keith, you're good? Okay. So that would be 5-1 then. Okay. Okay, that concludes that resolution. Okay, that actually concludes what I have for new business. Dare I ask if there's anything from council? No?
Is
Okay.
the road impact fee not going to be on there?
Correct, yes, I'm sorry. There was I should have clarified. That one is being removed. We double-checked that, and it actually needs to go through the planning commission.
Okay.
So that will be just like the park impact fees. It goes through that first, and then we'll move forward then at that time. So that concludes what I have for new business. Nothing from council? Okay, we'll move on to claims then, and we'll entertain a motion concerning the claims.
I do want to make mention one item. We have pulled the DC construction invoice for $18,245.07 because it has not been approved by council yet. So we will not pay that this time. Okay, thanks.
Any motion concerning the claims?
Motion to pay claims.
We have a motion to pay the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those claims are approved. Any announcements, discussion?
I just got a comment basically for everybody. We're doing all this annexation, okay? And I fear, because I can see it coming down the road, that we're creating pockets of no annexation. And we're gonna have to figure out how we can get these people annexed. Now, I don't know how many of these people headed up 39 already have utility services or whatever. But I think we need to put the pressure that says, if you need service or whatever, you have to be annexed to come into the city before we provide you service, because we're going to create an absolute nightmare. And we almost got rid of all those nightmares, but we need to figure out how to get rid of these nightmares. And then, of course, the legislature is not helping us at all to do that. I understand, but we're going to have to do it ourselves some way to force people to. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, force them to come into the city. If you want the service, you're going to have to come into the city.
I would say at this time, our general policy has been more carrot than stick. We have only done 100% voluntary annexations. I think your point of creating kind of called a Swiss cheese situation, I think it's a fair point and something that we will have to address. And I think you are right that utility service is an incentive we can offer. But at the same time, though, too, I don't think bringing people into the city that don't necessarily want to be part of the city is maybe the best policy either. So I think to your point, I think there's good discussions to have around that of what incentives can be used to bring people in the city. At a certain point, though, too, you also don't want a combative situation either, because I think the legislature, they turned down our ability to do annexations partly because of those confrontational annexations. So I think there is a balance there you have to strike. Again, I think, to the people that aren't in the city, I think there are benefits of being in the city. You actually get a voice. We have these residents that come to the public meetings. None of them can vote in the city elections, right? So how much you guys put weight on their opinion, hard to say, right? And I do think also we have a situation where we don't have any planning jurisdiction outside of our city limits. And I think that is part of what creates this conflict too, where we have these called Swiss cheese annexations, because we can't plan 2 miles out like other communities can. So I think hopefully there's some discussions at the county level to maybe give us some of that 2 mile planning jurisdiction. But that would be the will of the commissioners and the county council. So if you have any influence or say there, feel free to have those discussions as well.
There'll be, I know for a fact there's going to be a few of those homes up that direction that septic tanks are going to go bad, and they're not going to be able to get a permit. And so that means they're going to have to hook on once the service goes by there. And that's the time that you're going to have to give up and come into the city. Those are the things we're going to have to say. And the way I look at it, to get these people into the city, to stop, to.
Well, kind of piggybacking on those comments, I think your point is well taken, as the mayor said, but I feel like we're at a point where our community is experiencing growing pains now, because we've not expanded the physical footprint of the city that much over the last many years. We've done more annexations in the last, 2 years than I remember all the time I was employed by the city. So this idea of folks coming into the city that have lived outside of town for 20 years, and now suddenly the city's at their back door, that's kind of hard for some folks to accept. So I'm like the mayor. I don't know that forcing people right now is the best idea. I do think if we can incentivize that, that's always a better way. But I just also wanted to throw out that the city is growing. It's going to grow. If anybody doesn't think the city's not going to grow, I disagree with you. I think you're disillusioned. We're one of the last donut counties that has not really experienced the growth, and it's here. So whether you like it or not, it's kind of a moot point. We're going to have to deal with it, and that's what this council has discussed, that we want as responsible and orderly growth as we can experience, because saying it's not going to happen is not realistic. So
I agree, and that's part of the reason why we've taken the steps we have with our park impact fees, road impact fees. All those are designed to help alleviate some of that growing pains, as you called it. We do have a lot of good examples over the communities on things not to do as well. And I think we've learned those lessons as well. So appreciate the discussion, that's for sure. So, any other announcements or discussion from council?
No, sir.
Any general public comment? Okay. This time then, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Our next city council meeting will be Monday, October 25th at 7:15 PM. Thanks for joining us.
Reason why I wanted to vote no, but that-